What's up guys, and welcome to another video here in the beautiful lush tropics of my garden here in the UK. And if you know anything about the UK weather, then you know we've got to make hay while the sun shines, so to speak. Anyway, I digress. The topic of today's video is why getting absolutely shredded and in great shape, or jacked if you want to be that way, will hugely improve your life in so many different ways and show up in so many different areas. Now, the first one being obviously is aesthetics, because subconsciously people know that it takes hard work and effort in order to look a certain way. And by that I mean you have to do more than just sitting down, gaming and watching Netflix and eating what you want when you want. It obviously takes a lot of sacrifice, dedication and consistency and many other traits as well in order to look a certain way. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory. So growing up in a rough council estate in the East Midlands in Northampton, where I was from, in Kingsthorpe, growing up was quite tough, and I'm not here to make people feel sorry for me or anything like that, because people had a lot worse upbringings than I did. But it wasn't easy, it was tough. It came with a lot more challenges, and being quite a skinny kid and quite small for my age, I often got picked on as well by the older kids, by kids who were bigger than me. And to be honest, growing up there, you know, I don't remember many weeks going by without having a scuffle or some sort of fight with someone. And that wasn't just down to me alone, it was just, I think, being a product of that environment. I'm a great believer in being a product of your environment. And so growing up there was tough. Like I said, it came with its challenges, and I used to get picked on quite a lot as well for being quite small and skinny as a kid. And I got to the age of 14 where I then started to get quite bad anger issues. I was getting in trouble with the police, hanging around with the wrong sort of people, I guess. And leading up to that time, I remember my mum would never let me go to karate. Like, all my mates at school would be doing karate or judo and things like that, and I was never allowed to go to karate because my mum, being the overprotective mum she was, she didn't really want me doing that sort of thing. And then I got to the age of 14 and my mum allowed me to go to boxing, I think out of a way of channeling out all this anger and aggression that I was experiencing at that time. And so I went to boxing, amateur training, boxer training for 2 years until the age of 15, 16, when we moved to Norfolk eventually. And the local boxing gym then was a little bit further away. My mum wasn't prepared to drive all that way 2 to 3 times a week for me to go there. So I learnt to basic fighting skills. I learnt to take a punch, and I also learnt to throw punches as well. So bullies then didn't really present themselves as the problem. So I started playing football again. And when I was coming of age of 15, 16 years old, playing football, a lot of my peers at school who played football also were, some to mention, were like fully grown men, you know, full stubble, beards, big lads, and would push little old me off the ball quite easily. So that was the other problem, or the other challenge that I now had to overcome. And I left school, started working in a garage at the time as my apprenticeship, and I met a friend of mine there. We became very good friends and we were training together. We became training partners, and we would take it pretty seriously, not too much. We would do it as and when, off and on. And it wasn't until the age of 21 where I really started to take it seriously, and I think he did as well also, even more so. And we really started to focus in on our diets, especially me. I was eating a lot more protein, a lot more calories, and I started to quickly see results from putting in that work, that determination, that dedication into every facet of life. My sleep, my nutrition, showing up at the gym all the time, even when I didn't feel like doing it. And I started to build lean muscle, which started to increase my confidence as well. And this is funny. So when, fast forward a few more years, I'm now in my mid-20s, and I started to take up boxing again as well, because I could drive there myself. So I was doing weightlifting, boxing and football. So as you can imagine, I was full of energy, full of testosterone, full of aggression, and a lot more bigger, stronger, with controlled aggression than I was previously. And so I joined my local football team and started playing football for them on the wing. And one of the teams we played against was a team full of my ex-school peers, the ones that I mentioned earlier who would easily muscle me off the ball. So as you can imagine, I was pretty riled up for this game. I was lifting heavy weights, I was a lot stronger, like I said, and full of lean muscle at the time. And I was really riled up for this game. And the game kicked off, away we went. And I remember one of the guys who used to always charge into me and push me off the ball came in and tried the same trick, and this time I was ready for him. I saw him in my peripheral vision coming running in from the side, trying to take me out again. I thought I knew exactly what he was going to do. So he came in, I saw him try to shoulder check me, and like I said, I was ready for him. I stood my ground and a bit more, and I went in as well, charged in as hard as I could within reason, and I ended up bowling him over, barging him off the ball. He went rolling on the ground and winded himself, and then profusely shouted, "Referee!" The ref blew the whistle, came over, and he said, because the lad got up, and I thought something was going to go off, and I was stood over him, and my teammates were telling me that I was stood over him ready to ground and pound him. And the referee came over. It all sort of got a little bit heated, and the referee said, "Right, I'm going to let you off with a warning this time, but any more of that and the next time you're going in the book." So give him a free kick anyway. So that increased my confidence again. From ability perspective, I was now getting bigger. I could control myself against the bullies, and I could hold my own. So from the strength, aesthetics point of view, and the mindset point of view, this was checking boxes, and this was what really gave me a clear indication that this is the way to continue on through life. Not so much charging into people, but certainly channeling out my aggression with positive means by boxing training and the gym, and keeping my fitness up, keeping my heart rate going. And it just carried on. It was like a snowball effect. There were just so many more positives that kept coming year after year throughout the periods in my life. Now, to give you some concept, I'm 42 years old now, and I know what you're saying. How the hell are you 42? You don't look it. I'm just kidding. But I'm 42 now, and it's been 21 years, if my quick maths is correct, since I first stepped in the gym and was taking it seriously. And I've never really stopped until that time. Yes, my training has changed somewhat. I've started to focus more on lighter weights most of the time, and just better form, slower time under tension, and as opposed to the sort of powerlifting things that I used to do back when I was younger. I guess a lot of ego lifting. It still put muscle on in the right places, but certainly now I've had to take a little bit of a change attack with the ways in which I train, because it takes me a little bit longer to recover these days, and also I now have a lot more responsibilities, as you can imagine, being a man in their 40s. So I have to be a little bit more calculated with my risks that I take in life nowadays. So we got over the strength and the initial confidence building that it gave me from the off, which it will do anyone who gets into this if you're not already. And that's the reason for this video, because I'm an advocate for fitness. I tell people all the time the benefits of doing it and how it will improve their life in so many ways, shapes and forms, and just making better lifestyle choices, as it has with me, because it becomes far more than just a hobby or something you do on the side it's a full-time thing. It then plays into eating the right nutrition. You master self-control, because you can't just, you can't just eat what you want when you want. You have to learn to master yourself. You have to learn to control your cravings. You have to learn to not give in to instant gratification, and to delay that gratification, and to understand, really gain clarity into why you do what you do. And I'm trying not to go off topic here, but I'm trying to give you a great understanding as to why. So, the beginning of the video, I told you my backstory as to why I started training. It gave me the confidence, it made me a better person, it made me more self-assured, and a lot of people may think that I'm arrogant, and I get that. If you just happen to stop by and scroll my social media and see a couple of topless photos, and that I take my photography and my photos serious, you might think that's arrogant, but it's not. I've been doing this for 20 years, so it's part of me, it's part of who I am, it's part of my personal brand. So of course, why not am I going to share my success and my journey with my audience and on my platform? But what I'm trying to say is, a lot of people get arrogance mixed up with confidence, and they're two different things. Confidence is something that you develop from within, from your own abilities, from knowing what you're capable of, working on your weaknesses and turning them into strengths. That's confidence, and accepting your weaknesses as well. So, trying to go back to the subject in hand, the confidence was the huge thing it gave me. It's made me a better person. It gives me better posture. The way I walk, the way I talk, the way I carry myself, the way that I know I don't give in to instant gratification, the way that I've mastered self-control, which portrays into other areas of my life also. And then it's the mentality, the therapy side of things, which is why I really think that I've stayed doing this for so many years, is because the therapy, that way of channeling out negative energy or the everyday strains and stresses that we go through in life, way of channeling that out in a positive way. And then of course there comes the byproduct. Now the byproduct is obviously when you're on holiday, or you take your shirt off for whatever reason. I'll give you a few examples. So obviously on holidays, and you take your shirt off and you're at the beach or by the pool, I've noticed that I get the nod of approval from other guys. And I'll be honest with you as well, a lot of women are going to give you more attention, because from what I've heard firsthand, women have said in jokey ways, even with their husbands there, I'm not used to seeing that every day. So apologies for staring and stuff like that. And that makes you feel good. It's not why I do it, but it's a nice byproduct. It's a compliment. It means you're doing something right. And other people can appreciate that, the hard work, the dedication, the self-mastery, and all the stuff, the nuances that come into play in order to look and be a certain way. So when I was young and single, it definitely improved my dating life. It improved my relationships, both business and personal, because it's brought me opportunities. It's brought me the opportunity to work with brands that I want to work with, and not just brands and opportunities that I couldn't really care less about and would just accept because it's my foot into the door of that type of world. And also, I run my own construction business, so I've had chats with clients as well and asked them things like, why did you choose me to take on this contract rather than someone else? And a lot of the times the feedback has been good. They've said, you turn up on time, you seem to have a certain way that you carry yourself, you have confidence, and you just seem like a good person, well put together, well groomed and all that sort of stuff. And I could be the other way. I could be turning up scruffy, smelling like a garbage can, you know, stinking of booze, turning up late with a beaten up old van, not wanting to be there, no enthusiasm, no drive, just wanting to get down the pub. But I wasn't. I carried myself in a totally different way, different energy, and people pick up on that, you know. I really believe, and Chris Eubank Jr. said this in a recent podcast that I watched, and he said that you are a mirror of your soul. So, you know, what you put out into the world is what you get back in return. That yin and yang, that kind of karma sort of spiritual mentality. I'm a great believer in that also, which is why I'm doing these videos, is to contribute to something far greater than myself and to put out a good message, because I know firsthand the benefits and the pros and the way my life has elevated in this last 21 years since I made that decision and that choice to get into that gym and to continue to do so, even on the days when I felt tired, when I didn't want to do it, when I was aching, when I'd had a bad day, when I wasn't in the mood. I could have made every excuse under the sun, but I didn't, because it meant so much more to me to be a better person and to try and constantly improve, and not to be perfect, because I'm far from perfect. I've still got a lot of work to do in many different areas of my life, and I will continue to do that. I will never achieve the things that I want to achieve fully, because every time you level up, you're then looking at the next hurdle. It's a never-ending process. And that's why I really think so many people who have been into fitness for long periods of time become extremely successful in other ways, you know, with business, with becoming resilient, with finding solutions to problems, as opposed to just having a meltdown and giving up. And I'm so thankful that fitness has given me that mindset and really cemented those skills and values in me pretty much for a lifetime and beyond. So I think that's everything I really wanted to cover in this video, was the reasons why fitness and strength and resistance based training has vastly improved my life in so many other areas. And so why wouldn't I promote this and try and reach other people with this same message? Because if it can improve my life, it can improve anyone's life. So with that in mind, I really hope this video helps to wake you up a little bit and to maybe motivate you into making some better lifestyle choices in order to elevate the quality of your life in some way, shape or form. So once again, thank you very much for watching, guys. If you gain some value out of this and you want to see more videos like this, or maybe me discuss some different topics, then let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.